While you're in the first 5 seconds of the video, go ahead, like and subscribe.
I'm Asa, Officer Asa from Israel United in Christ. Some of y'all heard of us. Show of hands, who heard of us before? I know y'all cutting, so y'all got to stay focused right here. You ever heard of us before, sir? So we're a Bible-based organization. We teach our people, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, who they are according to the Bible, with historical fact and biblical fact, all right? We was founded in 2003 by our 3 bishops, Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Yahushua, Bishop Canaan. So real quick, if I was to ask Marshawn, I say, who are you? What would you say? Right, that's your name, but like, what's your race? What would you say? Where you come from? African American, right? My brother right here in the first chair, I asked you what's your race. What would you say? You will say black. My young brother right here, I asked you what's your race. What you gonna say? You gonna say black, right? My brother here, I ain't get your name. What's your name, sir? Trevor. Trevor, what's your race? Say I'm black. You will say you black. So we got black, African American. What about you, sir?
Asiatic black man.
You will say Asiatic black man. That's a problem. Anybody see the problem? Anybody see the problem?
A lot of different answers.
There you go.
Yeah.
We all the same people.
Right, it's not definitive.
We all brothers in here. But we all say different answers. You can go right here on Cicero and ask a bunch of brothers as they walk past. They're going to give different answers. Keno just came back. What would you say your race is, sir?
A black man with an Irish descent.
That's different. So we heard black, African American, Asiatic, and then we heard black with an Irish descent. We all the same people when we giving different answers. Why is that? Give me Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. Why do we give different answers when we're all the same people when asked about our nationality or where we come from?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
The ox knoweth his owner,
Mm-hmm.
and the ass his master's crib.
Mm-hmm.
But Israel doth not know.
Mm-hmm.
My people doth not consider.
So right there, it said the ox knows where he comes from. The ass knows where he comes from. The ass is a donkey. The ox is another animal. God is saying these 2 animals know where they come from. A donkey is supposed to be an animal that's not smart. But that donkey knows where he comes from. But what?
But Israel doth not know.
Who?
Israel doth not know.
It said Israel does not know. What we are coming to the barbershop to share with our brothers today, we are showing you what? You are the Israelites according to the Bible. Now let's get some fact. We're going to come back to that again where it said Israel does not know. So that's one of the problems. We don't know who we are. Some of us, we cleave to religions. Some people, when I ask them who you are, they say, I'm a Christian. Is a Christian a race? Anybody, is a Christian a race? That's a religion. Somebody will say, I'm a child of God. I had people tell me this before. That's not a race. That's not where you come from. Where we got a map right here. Where's child of God on the map? It don't exist. So that's a key sign right there. We are those people of the book. It said the Israelites would not know who they are. Now let's get some more proof. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 1 and 1. What y'all gonna find out while we here going over this? The Bible is only for Israel. It's written by Israel. It's written to Israel. It's only for the Israelites. It's 18 nations, 18 races listed in here. And we got to find out where we fall. And we showing you today, we are the Israelites. We are one of those 18 nations, the Israelites. You're not going to find Asiatic in here. You're going to find what? Israel. You're going to find what? Ishmael. Various different names. Because the names was changed later on. We're going to show you that. Deuteronomy 1:1.
This the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness.
Everybody familiar with Moses, right? Moses taking the children of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land. Everybody familiar with that. But it's showing you right here, Moses, them people Moses took out was the Israelites. So the first 5 books, the audience is who? Read that again.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Did it say everybody?
All Israel.
And we're going to go from the Old Testament to the New Testament and so on and show you who the audience is. The audience has not changed. What has changed is man takes the Bible and comes up with their own narrative. The Bible ain't changed from there. Let's go to chapter 28 now. Still in the same book, 28, and let's read verse 1.
This the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1.
Read.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So it said, remember who Moses is talking to, the Israelites. He said, God is saying to y'all, look, if y'all do what I say, I'm going to bless y'all. I'm going to put y'all on high. Anybody know any history of the Israelites? Anybody know about King David, King Solomon? Ever heard of them before? Heard of them, right. King David and King Solomon, together Israel only reigned for, David reigned for 40 years, Solomon reigned for 40 years. That's a total of 80 years. Right? Israel started to do what? Sin. So, going back to this verse, read that again.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So when you look at the Israelites, when they were being blessed, that was for a short time. Why? Because of sin. You fast forward today, the Israelites are not living blessings. We are living curses. For what? Disobedience to God. Now jump over to verse 15. Because in Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 through 14, those are the blessings. Verse 15 through 68, those are the curses. And when you hear these curses, it's going to start clicking in your mind. Because these is the things that woke us up here. Read.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So you hear Moses, he said, now he's saying, this is what will happen if you do not hearken. Hearken mean listen. This is what's going to happen if you don't listen to God. Watch this. Read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So now he's saying, if you don't listen to God, remember, verse 1, he said, if you listen, you're going to be blessed. You're going to rule the earth. You're going to have everything you need. Now he's saying, if you don't listen, bad things is going to happen to you. That's what curses are. Bad things. Read.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
When you look at all races of people, right? I'm going to start down here with Keno. When you look at all races of people, what races of people are cursed in every city that they live in? What race of people is cursed in every city they live in? I'm going to speak plainer.
I can't really say it's a curse, but
Living in bad conditions.
black people.
There you go.
I'm not gonna call it a curse.
That's what God is calling it here. Curse is just a bad thing, bad conditions. It's a condition we live in for not listening to God. We finna show you more of that. No matter where you go, especially in Chicago, South Side, the West Side, the East Side, Even some parts of the north. Who was in the ghetto? Who was in the slums? We are. Now we showing why that happened. Because we are the Israelites and we did not listen to God. Read that again.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So we got some visuals here, right? It said, cursed shalt thou be in the city. We start right there first before we hit the field. How else were we cursed in the city in history? Here goes some visuals right here. This is how we were cursed in the city in history. Throughout these whole 50 states, we were slaves. And even after that, what we suffer? What's something else they put on us after chattel slavery? Anybody know? It's something else they did. Black codes. Y'all ever heard of black codes? Black codes is those laws that they put in place that would get us what? Jail time, locked up. So we are the people that was cursed in the city. You see these images here. Everybody saw this movie before? Goodbye, Uncle Tom. Heavy movie. Go watch it. Y'all get done today, go pull it up on YouTube. It's an old flick. And it shows you a lot of the things that they did to us. Y'all know they had breeding farms for us? Breeding farms. Who breed dogs? Or you know somebody that breed dogs. They was treating us like somebody that's trying to breed Rottweilers. They had sex farms where they made male slaves breeders. They had us sleeping with our relatives, whoever, just to make more slaves. And this is documented history. Read that again. What did it say about us?
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So it said cursed in the city. Another way we was cursed in the city, we was getting sold. What y'all see right here on this sign? What's happening in this picture? That's a slave trade. We getting sold. We can show y'all that. That's in the Bible, believe it or not. We getting sold for revenue, for profit. Real quick. Hold that. Go to Joel chapter 3. This picture right here, this image, this is written in the Bible. This drawing, us getting sold. You know they split up millions of families through that slave trade. For example, if you was married with, you got your wife, you got 3 kids, they'll split y'all up and have y'all all over the United States. Send you to New York, sell your wife to Virginia, sell your son to Mississippi, sell your daughter to Nebraska. Just split up your whole family. And this is a process that happened to us repeatedly throughout history in all these cities. Read that in Joel.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem.
So right here, Judah and Jerusalem, that's the blacks and Hispanics. And we're going to show y'all more of that. Right now, I want to show y'all us being sold in the Bible. Read.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel.
Do y'all believe justice should be served for this right here on this sign? What about you, young man? Do you think we need payback for this? That's what God's saying. God is saying he's going to do that. God is saying he's going to pay back everybody that had a hand in this slavery. That's what Joel 3 is about. Read.
Whom they have scattered among the nations.
Whom they did what?
Have scattered among the nations.
Were not we scattered? They scattered us all over the world. All over the world, we were scattered. Where's the other sign at? Where's the other sign at? And when we were scattered, they did things like this to us. Anybody ever seen the human zoos? That's a real thing. They had us in zoos. Human zoos. These are the atrocities that we suffered as a people. That's why God is saying, because they did this to the children of Israel, he's going to pay them back. That's why it's war in Israel. That's why it's war in all these nations, because all of those nations played a part in our slavery. They benefited from it. Even the people that call themselves Jews, they backed the slave trade. They helped support and fund the slave ships. So God is saying all those people, in Joel 3, he's saying all those people that had a hand in this, he's going to pay them back. Keep reading.
And parted my land.
And they have what?
And parted my land.
So in the land of Israel today, you got two groups of people fighting. You got the Israelis and you got who else? Anybody paying attention to the news? Palestinians. What did God just say?
And parted my land.
They parted the land amongst themselves. Ain't neither one of them supposed to be there. That's our homeland. I'm going to show y'all the motherland. Hold that. Go to Galatians 4:26. Because Jerusalem is the motherland. Yes, we from Africa, but where? Jerusalem. Jerusalem is in northeast Africa. Read that.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 4 and verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
Which is the mother of us all. That's the motherland. But when you go back to Joel. When you read the Bible, you got to watch the news with it. These things in the Bible is taking place today. Read.
And they have cast lots for my people. And
so when we got taken into slavery, they started doing what? They parted the land of Israel and started doing what? Keeping it amongst themselves. When we got put in slavery, this is what they did to us, selling us. Now, back then, they didn't have cameras up until a certain point. So these are drawings of them selling families. Right here, you got an actual slave sign right here. It says cash. All persons that have slaves disposed of will do well by giving me a call, as I will give the highest price for men, women, and children. These are signs that they made, advertising us as what? Property. Read on.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
That's them making us sex slaves. A harlot is a whore. Making us sex slaves, making us breeders on their sex farms to what? Produce more slaves. Y'all ever heard of buck breaking? Somebody said, who heard of buck breaking? Buck breaking. What's the buck breaking process, sir? You had white men raping black men. Not just when we got over here. They was raping black men on ships. You can look this up. So it wasn't just our women who was being raped. They were raping the men. That's why when you read Joel 3, God is saying he's going to repay all the nations that did this to us. Keep reading.
And sold a girl for wine.
Now what's that? And sold a girl for wine. What they selling our daughters for wine for? So they can get drunk. Then they get the wine. What they gonna do to the girls? They gonna do what they will with them. They gonna rape the women. It's no coincidence that the Bible says these things. Read on.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
And
all the coasts of Palestine.
And all the coast of who?
Palestine.
So the Africans and the Arabs, along with the white man, sold us into slavery. It's two big major slave trades. Who's heard of the transatlantic slave trade? Anybody? Transatlantic slave trade? You heard of it. It's another one that took place. Who heard of the Sub-Saharan slave trade? Sub-Saharan? Y'all got to look that up. That's the Arab slave trade. Now it said Tyre, Zidon, all the coast of Palestine. Did you read down to the Grecians?
No, sir.
Keep reading.
Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border.
So that Grecian there is the white man. Did not they move us far from our border? Yes, they did. They scattered us all over the earth. Now go back to Deuteronomy 28 now. Go back to Deuteronomy 28. Go back to verse 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. So we know we cursed in the city today because what? We live in poverty, pissy hallways, drug-infested neighborhoods, murders all around, rapists all around. It's not a safe environment for our children. Those are bad conditions that we suffer. That's how we know we are the people of the book. How else were we cursed in the cities? We showed you some historical fact with the signs, with the visuals. Now it says cursed in the field. How are we cursed in the field? How were we cursed in the field? That's an easy one right here. What they have us doing in the field? Picking cotton. Not only that, if you was in Brazil, they had you cutting what? Sugar cane. They got our Hispanic brothers doing what? Picking fruit. They still picking fruit today and get little or nothing for that. That's a bad condition that we suffer as a people. Read on. Matter of fact, jump to let's go to verse 32.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 32.
Thy
sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Did not that happen to us? We still in the same chapter. Do anybody disagree that our children were not given to another people? It's in all the movies. 12 Years a Slave, Roots, La Amistad, Birth of a Nation. Who seen that? Nate Parker. That was the movie about Nat Turner. Anybody see that? Go check that out. They raped his wife in that movie. They actually was selling our people for what? For their wild sex parties on the plantation. These is things that was happening to our people during slavery. And read that again, because this still happens. Read that again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
How else are our sons and daughters given to another people? Child protective services. You get your child taken from you, is it easy to get your child back? How many of us got a couple thousand for a lawyer? Read it again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
Because during this time, we had no military. We had no money. We had no means to get our children back. So all we could do was cry. Read.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
The
fruit of thy land, and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only...
Hold on. Young man, who made the traffic light? You don't know? That's important to know. You know your people made the traffic light? Gary Morgan, look him up. Gary Morgan made the traffic light. Did you drive? You drive? That traffic light that you stop at, your people made that. But that's not something that's taught to us. This whole country that we living in, we built this place. Telling you, look it up. It's a book called, I think it's by Lerone Bennett Jr., Before the Mayflower. Read that book. He go into black inventors. You got to start reading. I know you young and it seems like you want to go out there and live, but all this stuff here, they put it in front of you to distract you. You got to learn where you come from. Read that again.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation with which thou knowest not eat up.
So everything that we had, somebody else took it. We build inventions, what they do, they take it and say they made it. Like the movie The Matrix. Who seen the movie The Matrix? Who made that? Who wrote that movie? Anybody know? A black woman. And what they do? They took it away from her. Read that again.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
So yeah, when you go back in time, we had land. The Hispanics was here. Those is our brothers. We had land. We had crops, we had all these things, and those things got taken away from us. Native Americans, our brothers was here first. Their land got taken from them. But also, when we made inventions, when we created things, it was taken from us. Keep reading.
And thou shalt be only oppressed.
Only what?
Only oppressed and crushed always.
Only oppressed and crushed always. Are not we an oppressed people? We are an oppressed people. You ever seen that video of that, I think he was a Marine. He got pulled over at the gas station and got maced. This was a couple years ago. A Marine, a U.S. Marine. Surely he's safe. Surely he got a better life. No, he still got police brutality performed on him.
In uniform.
Read that again.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Said we will only be oppressed and crushed always. Don't forget verse 15. Why did all of this happen to us? Verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
We the chosen people of God, but being chosen come with responsibilities. We didn't do what God said, so he allowed all of this to befall us. Now, let's jump down to verse 47. 28 and 47.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
So we didn't want to serve God. When you read the Bible, we wanted to figure out what the other races do. We wanted to learn their gods, learn their ways. It's the same thing today. You got black men being Buddhists. You got Hispanics trying to learn about Krishna, the East Indian religion. You got us trying to be Baptist, Mormon, Muslim. And we're going to show you something with Islam too in a minute. Keep reading.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
What did God say was going to happen to us?
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So God said we're going to serve our enemies. So the people that did this to us, brothers, what is God calling them?
Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies.
Our enemies. They are our enemies. That's why all these laws that get put in place, those laws that get put in place, they are in a direct attack on us in some way, shape, or form. Like, I'm going to point this out. Who's familiar with the history on the Dan Ryan? The Dan Ryan Expressway? A little bit.
How they put it in the black neighborhood.
What was there first?
I'm not 100%. I watched a little bit about it, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't tell you.
If you talk to some of the old heads, they'll tell you the whole Dan Ryan Expressway, that was houses right there.
Yeah.
When I found that out, my mind was blown. I said, wait, that was houses? Mm-hmm. That was houses and homes of who? Our people.
That I do know.
And how did they get us out of there? Eminent domain. That just means you got to move your black behind out of the way so I could build my freeway. But they tore down whole neighborhoods to make this expressway. That's something that we don't know. We just be driving down that expressway and don't even know what we driving on. That was what people's houses and homes was. Read that again.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So God said, because we didn't want to listen to him, you're going to serve your enemies. Because we used to battle with these other nations when you read the Bible. We were supposed to be over them. But when we started going against God's rules, he said, I'm going to let you fall to them. I'm going to let them overtake you. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
So who sent our enemies against us so they could do what you see on this sign? Read that again.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Because you got to think, you got 20 of us on a plantation, all swole, 6'1", lifting all type of weight. So what happened? God allowed that to happen. God did. That's it. Read.
which the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger.
So now, he said, because you don't want to listen to me, you're going to serve your enemies in hunger. Walmart, do we own that? No. Kroger, do we own that? No. Food for Less, do we own that? No. If there is a black grocery store, what happened? It barely lasts long. Read.
And in thirst.
Thirst, the water that we drink. Do we own any of them water companies? No, we don't own none of them. If you collect rainwater, what they do to you? They find out you collecting rainwater. What they gonna want? Tax. And you collecting water that dropped from the sky. Read that again.
In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness.
Nakedness, the clothes that we wear. Majority of our clothes say made where? China, sometimes Taiwan. Even if you make your own clothes, you got your own clothing line. You have to go to your enemies to get the fabric, the textiles, whatever you need to make your clothing. Read.
And in want of all things.
When we die, do we got an all-black courthouse to go get the death certificate for our loved one? No. We have to go to our enemy's courthouse and get those things. When we want to get married, we have to go to their facility to get their marriage license. Read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
It said, and your enemies will put a yoke of iron upon their neck. That's no coincidence. Moses wrote that and then it happened. Yoke of iron on our neck. Read that again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
These is pictures. We showed drawings. These is actual pictures. They took a picture of this man with shackles and chains on his neck. Moses talking about us in the future. We're going to have shackles and chains on our neck put on us by our enemies for what? Not listening to God. That's not a coincidence. Keep reading.
Until he hath destroyed thee.
You ever seen somebody that got their dog so trained that they don't got them on the leash no more? That's what happened to us. Because remember, when we had the chains on us, we was fighting back. It was slave rebellions. Nat Turner, Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey. You had the rebellions in Haiti, the Haitian Revolution. That's the chains on. But later on, by the time the chains come off, they don't got to force you to do things like celebrate Easter now. They don't got to force you to celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's. All those things come from man-made religions. Let's show you some proof. Right here, we got a sign with man-made religions. This is stuff you can Google. This is stuff you can look up yourself. So let's start from this far end. You got Baptist, was created by John Smith in 1608. Where was we at? Slavery. Right here. Mormonism, created by Joseph Smith. And that's an evil religion. Very evil. You know, in their book, they got a book inside the Mormon Bible. It's a chapter called Nephi. And in that chapter, they say that we turned black because we did something wrong. It was a punishment. And you have black people that join that not knowing the history of that. Created in 1830. We was in slavery. Right here, Seventh-day Adventists. Created by the white woman, Ellen G. White. When? 1863. That's, what, 2 years before the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865? This is not our culture. We learned this stuff in slavery. Whatever your slave master was, that's what you was. If he was a Baptist, all his slaves Baptist. If he Pentecostal, all his slaves Pentecostal. You don't have a choice in the matter. Then we have Jehovah's Witness. It's a lot of black folks that's Jehovah's Witness. A lot of them. Created by Charles T. Russell. Excuse me, sir. Created by Charles T. Russell. When? 1872. You see this? Then you got Pentecostal. Created in 1901. By who? Charles Parham. This is the whole Christian faith, the whole Christian denomination created by your enemies. Man-made religions. You cannot find none of these customs in the Bible. None of them. But what they did, they had the Bible in hand and was like, well, if you love God, you're going to obey your master. That's not talking about that. And we can show you that. But first, we want to build on the history first. Then you come down here. For some of my brothers that may be from Jamaica, Barbados, Trinity, Rastafarianism, Haile Selassie. That's not our people. The Africans look like us, but we not the same people. We're going to show you that. And what does this consist of? Smoking weed. Smoking weed and I can do whatever I want. How is that going to change our people? Not one bit. Then you got Islam. This is a big one right here. A lot of our brothers flock to this when they go to jail. Right now, it's a wave of black athletes, black entertainers. Who else? Entertainers, athletes, rappers. They all converting to Islam. It's an agenda behind it. You know it's an agenda behind it. So all of these religions right here, they have us confused, and we learn all this in slavery. We're going to show y'all that. Read down.
Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So it said the Lord will bring a nation against us from far. Where did the white man come from? You say, what? The mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. Specifically, when he came on those slave ships, he came from Europe, from the Eastern Hemisphere. He came all the way from a different side of the earth. Read.
Far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. No, it's this one. You notice it doesn't matter what this white man called himself. He called himself Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, German, Czechoslovakian. What's a symbol they love using? They love using that eagle. That eagle is on all their militaries, their battleships, everything. Read that again.
As swift as the eagle flieth.
So it said he gonna come as swift as the eagle flieth. When they was under the name the Romans, now we're gonna start back. The Greeks. When they was under the name of the Greeks, what symbol did they use? The eagle. When they was under the name the Romans, what did they use? The eagle. Spanish, the eagle. America, what symbol they use? Eagle. Why they use that bird? Because it's a bird of prey. Just think about the symbol on the dollar. It's an eagle holding arrows in one hand, and then the eagle holding, olive branch. Yep. Them arrows symbolize war. Because that's how this white man get everything that he want. By war. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So when they came over to the west coast of Africa to take us, did we understand their languages they were speaking? No. When they came over here to this side, to the Hispanics, to the Native Americans, did they understand their language? No. We learned English from what? Slavery. Our Hispanic brothers learned Spanish from what? Slavery. Read.
A nation of fierce countenance.
When it says fierce countenance, they kill men, women, and children. Who's familiar with that song by Nina Simone, Strange Fruit? What's she singing about? Black people hanging. It's a book called, I want you to look that up when you get time. It's a book called 1,000 Years of Lynchings. I wish we would have brought it today. It's a book called 1,000 Years of Lynchings. And in that book, they show you millions of photographs of these white folks taking family photos with us dangling from trees dead. I'm talking about got the kids right there cheesing like they had a family reunion. Read that again. A nation of what?
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
They had our children young as 2 picking cotton. It's a photograph of that. You can look that up. 2-year-old boy picking cotton. That's what that means. They didn't show favor to the young or to the old. They didn't care if you was old and gray. Pick that cotton or you gonna die. Read.
And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed.
Who did that happen to specifically? Our Native American brothers. What did they do with the buffalo? They slaughtered all the buffalo. Didn't leave the Native Americans nothing. Read on.
Until which shall also be not leave either the corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
So they didn't leave our brothers nothing. That's what Thanksgiving is really about. That's the slaughter of your brothers. We be sitting up there eating all that stuff. Is symbolic, man. Everything from the turkey to the cranberry sauce, that's about the murder of your own people. Read on.
And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
Jump down to verse 64.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
So we know we got scattered amongst all people in slavery. We got scattered all over the earth. North, south, east, west. Read on.
From the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So the wood that we would serve or we would learn is what? Christianity. That's why I started off there. I wanted to go there first. That's where we learn these religions in slavery. We got this stuff beat into us. Now you ask black folks, okay, you got a pamphlet, and that's supposed to be Jesus on there, but he white. Where it say that in the Bible? You negative. Go on somewhere. It's about the blood. We ain't asking about that. Show me in the Bible where he looked like the picture you have on your pamphlet. You can't show me that because Jesus Christ is a black man. That image was made by your oppressor. That is a real man. His name is Cesare Borgia. Leonardo da Vinci painted him. When? During the Renaissance era. Painted that man and made him the new image of Jesus. But we don't ask no questions. That's the bad thing about us as a people. You tell our people anything and they follow it. Read on.
And among these nations,
wood and what?
Even wood and stone.
The stone is Islam. We learned Islam during slavery because what? You had two major slave trades. Transatlantic slave trade, then you had the Sub-Saharan slave trade by the Arabs. Let's get some history on that. I want you to read this article by Atlanta Black Star, 10 facts about the Arab slave trade. Read that.
This is 10 facts about the enslavement of black people not taught in school. The number of people enslaved. The number of people enslaved by Muslims has been a hotly debated topic, especially when the millions of Africans forced from their homelands are considered. Some historians estimate that between AD 650 and 1900, 10 million to 20 million people were enslaved by Arab slave traders.
Do y'all hear that? And our people still getting put in slavery today. You can look this up. We still getting put in slavery over there in what is known as the Middle East by Arabs. They still sell our people. I can't remember the term that they call them. Y'all heard of the sisters that's going to these Arab countries, letting them take a dump on them for money? Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I can't remember the name that they call them.
They be like those TikTok influencers that be trying to get the Birkin bags and all the money
Right,
and stuff.
Right. Read. Jump down to what they did to our sons. This is, again, what our brothers that join Islam don't know, because that's an Arab religion.
Arab enslavers practiced genetic warfare. The Arab slave trade typically dealt in the sale of castrated male slaves.
Did you hear that? Read that one more time.
The Arab slave trade typically dealt in the sale of castrated male slaves.
This is what the Arabs was doing to us when they had us in slavery. This is a slave trade we don't know about. We know about the transatlantic with the white man, but we don't know about the Sub-Saharan where they was taking us as far as China, India, Sri Lanka, when they was taking us to the Eastern Hemisphere. We don't know about this. This is what the Arabs, the Muslims was doing to our people. Read.
Black boys between the ages of 8 and 12 had their scrotums and penises completely amputated to prevent them from reproducing.
So they would cut off our rod and our scrotum because they didn't want us sleeping with their women. This is what they did. The Bible called that a eunuch. That's what a eunuch is, if you ever heard of that name, a eunuch. That's either a man who was born with some issues or he was made a eunuch. Somebody cut his rod off. This is what the Arabs did to us during the Trans-Saharan slave trade. What's going on, brothers? This is what we don't know. But our brothers will go to jail and they'll be diehard Muslim and they don't know this history. Read on.
About 6 of every 10 boys bled to death during the procedure, according to some sources, but the high price brought by eunuchs on the market made the practice profitable.
So a lot of us was dying when they was amputating our rods off, when they was cutting off our scrotum. A lot of us died, but they got a lot of money for black boys that was eunuchs. So they continued to practice. This is what we don't know. But you'll have brothers, oh, assalamu alaikum, don't even know what they into. Don't even know. You trying to be cool and rap with Habibi, know he had your people in slavery. From now, get Babylon Timbuktu. Because I know that's a big thing. It might be the next page. That's a big thing that our people, they flock to. Page 49 in there. And then read this first. There you go. It was the next page. Read that first.
Arab enslavers targeted women for rape.
Wait. Read that again.
Arab enslavers targeted women for rape.
So my brothers that just came in right now, we going over some history. We showing that we are the Israelites according to the Bible. We showing historical fact, biblical fact. What we talking about now, we showing that we learn these man-made religions in slavery. That's where we learn all this stuff. Every last thing you see on here, even Islam. I know my brothers love that, but that's the religion of the Arabs. And we are reading from this article, and we're going to show in this book here what the Arabs did to our people. Read.
The Eastern Arab slave trade dealt primarily with African women, maintaining a ratio of 2 women for each man. These women and young girls were used by Arabs and other Asians as concubines and menials.
What's a concubine? This what we don't know. We think it's just what the white man did. No. You don't know who all had a hand in your destruction. You don't know who all had a hand in your slavery. All them that sit at that United Nations table, they had a hand in this. Read.
A Muslim slaveholder was entitled by law to the sexual enjoyment of his slave women.
Did you hear that? That sound like the same thing with the white man. That's your wife. He kicked the shack in late night and take your wife. They was doing the same thing in the Sub-Saharan slave trade with the Arabs. The exact same thing. Read.
Filling the harems of wealthy Arabs, African women bore them a host of children.
So a harem is a whorehouse. So they would have a whole house full of black women that they could have sex with whenever they want to. This is what they was doing to our people. This is what they don't teach you in school. So Islam ain't the way. Read that verse again, then go here to page 49.
Filling harems of wealthy Arabs, African women bore them a host of children. This abuse of African women would continue for nearly 1,200 years.
And it's still going on. In places like, I'll give you an example. Our people is in Madagascar too. Because they so poor, they often try to work abroad, go to some of these Middle Eastern countries, you know what happens to them? Their passports get taken and they get put into prostitution. You can look this stuff up. It's a scene, not a scene, it was a news clip of a man in Madagascar. His wife left to go work abroad, and I think, where was it? Was it Saudi? It was one of the Arab countries. She left to go work there and she came back dead. This is the stuff that they don't teach us or tell us about. We think everybody love us. No, 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 no. We got to wake up. Read that.
This is the book of Babylon, from Babylon, a Timbuktu by Rudolf All-Renzer, page 49. Muhammad tried to construct his religion as closely he could after the Jewish religion.
After what?
After the Jewish religion.
We are the Jews. So it's telling you the origin of Islam. Muhammad tried to turn and twist his religion as closely as he could as to ours. Read.
He favored the Jews by accepting many of their laws and traditions. When the Jews refused to be converted, he commanded his followers to stop turning to the holy city of Jerusalem in prayer, but to rather turn to the city of Mecca.
That's why they face Mecca when they pray, the Muslims. Originally, they was trying to follow behind us and face Jerusalem. The Bible tells you we supposed to face Jerusalem and pray. Read.
He changed the Jewish Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, or fast day, which he had accepted for the month of Ramadan.
So he got Ramadan is an off version of the Day of Atonement. The Day of Atonement is in the Bible, but that's where they got it from. They was copying off our people. Read.
Muhammad changed the Jewish Sabbath from Saturday to Friday.
You see that? Read.
Muhammad included in his Bible, the Quran, accusations concerning the Jews. Nevertheless, the Quran glorifies many biblical personalities. That's it on that.
Is it another bullet point on there?
Not highly, no.
Go to page 41. Is it another one? Okay, drop that from there. Read Deuteronomy 28:64 again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
So we was scattered in slavery. This is historical fact. You can look this up. Read.
From one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
The wood is Christianity. The stone is Islam. That's that Kaaba stone. We don't know that. Real quick, get Jeremiah 3 and verse 1, where it tell you where we learn Islam from. Let's get that out the Bible. Then we going to go to Deuteronomy 28 verse 68.
Jeremiah 3 and 1?
Yep.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 1. They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith the Lord.
Read.
Lift up thine eyes unto the high places, and see where thou hast not been lying with.
So he's speaking of who? The Israelites. He's speaking of the Israelites. He said, when I look at y'all, it's not one religion y'all ain't dabbled in. It's the same thing today. Our people trying everything. Buddhism, Scientology, being an atheist, being a Muslim, Christianity. Even though they know all this stuff lies. Read.
In the ways hast thou sat for them, as the Arabian in the wilderness.
When did we sit down with the Arabian in the wilderness during the Sub-Saharan slave trade, which we just was showing y'all, where we learn Islam? From there, let's get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Now, us going on slave ships, is that biblical? Is that documented in the Bible? Can we find that anywhere? Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So right there it said the Lord will bring The Israelites, remember, the topic ain't changed. Who that's talking about? Israel. We read the first chapter, the first verse. It said he talking to Israel. He said, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again. What was the Israelites in Egypt? What was they social status? What? Slaves. So he said, I'm going to bring you back into Egypt with what?
Again, with ships.
Now you got to ask yourself, when they left, when the Israelites left Egypt, what was their transportation? They was walking. So why do you need a boat to go back to where you walk from? He's saying something else. He's saying you're going to go back into slavery with a ship. Get Exodus 20:2. What does Egypt mean? The Bible going to tell us another name for Egypt. What was Egypt called? Watch this. Exodus 20:2.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2.
Read.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
What did the Bible call Egypt? Read it again.
Out of the house of bondage.
You see that? The house of bondage. It's paintings in Egypt of Israel putting bricks on towers and building pyramids as what? Slaves. So that's historical fact. So when you read 28 and 68 again, read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The Lord is going to bring you back into slavery, this time with ships. Why? Because you broke his commandments. Did not we go into slavery on ships? Yes, we did. That's showing you without a fact, without a doubt, we are the Israelites. Everybody see that? You can't argue that. Not only is it movies, it's historical documents, facts on it. It's even history of the Native Americans going into slave ships. We could show y'all that. That's showing you what? They are Israelites. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans are the Israelites according to the Bible. We went into slavery for disobedience to God.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is